The history of Denny's, America's diner. Today, we're diving into the surprisingly fascinating story of Denny's, the iconic 24/7 diner experience we all know and love. From humble beginnings to late-night meltdowns, both literal and metaphorical, Denny's has a rich history filled with unexpected twists and turns. So, grab a virtual cup of coffee, or moans over my hammy, if that's your thing, and settle in, because we're about to knock one out of the park with the Grand Slam history of Denny's. From donut shop to all-nighter, 1953 to 1959. Believe it or not, Denny's wasn't always the breakfast haven we know today. It all started in 1953 with a simple donut shop called Denny's Donuts in Lakewood, California. The name wasn't even chosen for any specific reason, it was just popular at the time. Harold Butler and Richard Jezak, the founders, saw quick success and expanded the chain to 6 locations within 2 years. However, in 1955, Jezak decided to pursue other ventures, leaving Butler to steer the ship solo. Faced with declining donut sales at some locations, Butler made a bold move in 1956. He expanded the menu to include burgers and switched to a 24/7 operation, forever changing the game for late-night hunger pangs. This decision proved successful, and the always-open model became a core part of Denny's identity. Denny's identity crisis, 1959 to 1961. The name Dennys didn't quite stick. In 1959, to better reflect the growing menu that now included more than just donuts, Butler changed it to Denny's Coffee Shops. This new moniker seemed like a more accurate representation of the brand's offerings. However, this change also led to confusion with another coffee shop chain in the Los Angeles area. Customers were having a hard time telling the two apart, causing a bit of a headache for Denny's. The birth of Denny's, 1961. Finally, in 1961, the now iconic Denny's name was born. This time, the name change wasn't due to a desire to better reflect the menu. Harold Butler simply shortened Denny's to Denny's for a more memorable brand identity. Short, catchy, and easy to remember, Denny's finally found its name. Googie glory and going global, 1960s. The 1960s saw Denny's expand nationwide with a unique architectural style, Googie architecture. Think upswept roofs and a space-age vibe, a complete departure from the traditional diner aesthetic. This style, popular at the time, reflected the era's fascination with the future and technology. Denny's restaurants, with their boomerang-shaped blueprints designed by Los Angeles architects Arment and Davis, stood out and became recognizable landmarks across the country. By 1967, Denny's wasn't just satisfying American appetites. They opened their first international restaurant in Acapulco, Mexico, taking their signature pancakes global. This marked the beginning of Denny's international expansion, bringing their brand of American comfort food to a wider audience. Stock market sizzle and $1 million mistake, 1968 to 1971. Denny's went public in 1968, and its shares soared. It seemed like unstoppable growth was on the horizon. The company was riding a wave of success, driven by its unique combination of 24/7 service, familiar comfort food, and a catchy brand identity. However, this success story took a dramatic turn in 1971. Denny's founder, Harold Butler, attempted a risky takeover of Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas. The deal fell through amidst allegations of financial misconduct, and Butler faced legal issues. This scandal tarnished Denny's image and led to Butler's departure from the company. The Grand Slam is born and beyond Sambo's, 1977 to 1980s. Despite the drama surrounding the Caesar's Palace deal, Denny's continued to innovate. In 1977, they introduced the legendary Grand Slam breakfast, a massive 4-item plate featuring 2 eggs, 2 buttermilk pancakes, 2 sausage links, and 2 slices of bacon. This became an instant hit with customers, solidifying Denny's reputation as a breakfast destination. The Grand Slam's name was a playful tribute to baseball legend Hank Aaron, who at the time just broke Babe Ruth's home run record. National expansion and restaurant rescue, 1980s. The 1980s were a period of significant growth for Denny's. They reached a major milestone in 1981 by opening their 1,000th location, achieving national presence in all 50 states. They also expanded internationally, venturing into Canada and Japan. Denny's saw an opportunity in the struggles of their competitor, Sambo's. As Sambo's, a chain with over 1,000 locations, filed for bankruptcy in the early 1980s, Denny's swooped in and acquired many of their closing locations. They completely revamped these former Sambo's restaurants, transforming them into full-fledged Denny's, effectively wiping away the Sambo's brand and expanding their own footprint even further. A day-off fiasco and discrimination lawsuits, 1988 to 1990s. In 1988, Denny's attempted a unique experiment. They decided to close down all but 6 restaurant locations for Christmas Day. The intention was to give their employees a much-needed break, as Denny's was known for its 24/7 service. However, this decision backfired spectacularly. Many locations never actually closed their doors before and lacked proper locks. The scramble to install or replace locks turned the one-day break into a logistical nightmare. More importantly, Christmas Day was, and still is, one of Denny's busiest days, as it attracted customers who might have burnt holiday meals at home. The lost revenue due to the closures was significant, highlighting the challenges of maintaining a 24/7 operation. Meanwhile, Denny's faced a much more serious challenge in the early 1990s. Several black customers filed class action lawsuits against the corporation, alleging racial discrimination at Denny's restaurants. These lawsuits painted a disturbing picture of discrimination, racial slurs, and unequal service for black patrons. Turning the tide and embracing charity, 1990s. The discrimination lawsuits forced Denny's to take a hard look at its practices. They settled the lawsuits for a whopping $54 million, one of the largest settlements of its kind at the time. This was a wake-up call for Denny's, and they implemented significant changes to address racial bias within the company. They increased diversity in their advertising campaigns, hired undercover diners to identify and address discrimination at locations, and donated to black organizations. One notable initiative was their partnership with Save the Children, a charity focused on improving healthcare, education, and economic opportunities for children worldwide. This marked a significant shift for Denny's, demonstrating their commitment to social responsibility. Themed menus, financial struggles, and the future, 1990s to present. Denny's continued to adapt and evolve over the years. In 1997, they introduced their first Denny's Classic Diner location, a concept that harkened back to the nostalgic charm of 1950s-era diners. This proved popular, and the Classic Diner brand grew to encompass nearly 50 locations across the United States. Denny's also embraced pop culture with themed menus, such as one inspired by the Lord of the Rings prequel The Hobbit in 2012 and 2013. These menus offered quirky dishes with names like Frodo's Pot Roast Skillet and the Hobbit Whole Breakfast, adding a touch of whimsy to the Denny's experience. However, Denny's also faced challenges in recent years. The COVID-19 pandemic significantly impacted the restaurant industry, and Denny's was no exception. While they introduced online ordering in 2017, the initial phases of the pandemic saw a decline in customers due to lockdown restrictions and safety concerns. Many locations were forced to close for the first time since the 1988 fiasco, and some never reopened. In an ever-changing restaurant landscape, Denny's is still striving to find its place. They continue to offer their signature 24/7 service, value-oriented meals, and familiar comfort food. They also embraced social media, with a presence on platforms like Twitter and Instagram, showcasing their menu items and engaging with customers in a more playful and interactive way. We hope you enjoyed this dive into Denny's fascinating history. Let us know in the comments below what your favorite Denny's memory is. Have you ever visited a Denny's Classic Diner? And what do you think the future holds for this iconic American brand? Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more quirky culinary adventures. Thanks for watching.